Well, I served one term on the forum, and it was quite a delight. And we were asked to reapply like all other mayors, and we did so. And so we were chosen again for a second term, which is something that is very um, good for Walvis Bay, good for Namibia, to get that exposure internationally and to network with all of these amazing leaders and mayors around the African continent.
Now, for those unfamiliar with the Covenant of Mayors for Sub-Saharan Africa, can you briefly explain what it is about and what your role as part of the Regional Mayors Forum actually involves?
I'm one of three mayors from Southern Africa. We represent over three. We are the Regional Mayors Forum consists of about 12 members, 12 mayors from all over Sub-Saharan Africa, from Bangui to Namibia, Zambia to Kilimani, and we represent over 390 mayors for Sub-Saharan Africa, and we're also part of the global covenant of mayors. So the main aim of this forum is to really promote climate action and give mayors the necessary exposure internationally and to all of these forums, African Urban Forum, and to bring about the needed assistance and also exposure to financial institutions, as we know that mayors are the closest form of government, or in fact councillors, local authority councillors, are the closest form of government to the people. So the main focus here is to bring that funding and that assistance closer to the people. For example, what we did now with with Bloomberg was to get funding for youth climate projects in Walvis Bay. One such project brought about solar power to a school's computer lab. So these are the kind of things that we are looking at, and also just basically, I believe collaboration and networking is the key component to success.
Mm. Wolfish Bay is now at the heart of a continental conversation about sustainability. What does this mean for the town and for its citizens at large?
Well, what this can mean is today I attended a climate parliamentarian session that was hosted in Walvis Bay, where we had the likes of Honorable Ims Nashinge, we had the former Minister of Environment and Tourism, Puamba Shifeta, and ministers and parliamentarians from all over the African continent taking part in this. So what this means is really getting the necessary exposure. We can see the Walvis Bay is doing particularly well when it comes to clean energy. We are front runners in the green hydrogen space. We are already producing, not the city itself, but other companies, because stakeholders engagement is very important, are now taking part in with green hydrogen to fuel the logistics. CMB Tech and ONL running that one. But also Walvis Bay is now also seeing how we can set up a waste to power plant in Walvis Bay that will be big enough to consume the waste of the Irongo region. That is some of the projects we are looking at, and this exposure for the town is very important. It will bring about the necessary investment that we need to set up such infrastructure.
Mm. Now, one of your mandates is to advocate for equitable energy access and also infrastructure. What does that look like in practice, and where's Wolfish Bay on that journey?
Well, when we talk about equitable energy access, we forget about the people on the grassroots, the consumers of that energy. And when we started with with this whole green hydrogen hype that was going on around Namibia, my question was always, how will the people on the ground, the ordinary citizen, benefit from this? And do they truly understand the concept of green hydrogen? In some aspects, I still don't think we do. So we need to bring this energy source closer, especially to rural communities. I believe that if you take green hydrogen and you put it into green cooking, for example, you have something that the local populace can really benefit from. But also, we are looking at a cheaper form of energy that will be consumed. So if we can get the systems into the grid, and that's something we're not looking at, all of our resources, and I believe that if we don't manage this properly, green hydrogen can just be another form of neocolonialism. We produce something for the export market and not benefit from ourselves. So we need to find a way how we are going to get this energy source in our grids. So we must capitalize and learn from countries such as South Korea, for example. They are doing it. So
Mm.
we must make the right partners to assist us on this new journey that we are embarking on as a nation.
Mm. Are there any ongoing or upcoming projects in Wolfish Bay that demonstrate your commitment to sustainability and climate resilience?
We have now entered the second phase of the Youth Climate Action Fund, which was sponsored of grant funding obtained from my office through Bloomberg Philanthropies. And this funding I obtained when I was in Dubai at COP28. We now have 19 projects, youth-led projects that is running. One of them is turning fish scales into plastic bags, and others are solar projects. We have some greenhouses, and all of that. So these are all youth-led projects, and that is one that I'm particularly proud of, because we've obtained through the two cycles, the two phases, we have obtained about 2.8 million Namibian dollars, which we are quite proud of as a city. And this is just one of the projects that we can do through such projects, such initiatives as COMSA and of course ICLEI. And I would really encourage mayors from all over the country to partake and be part of such initiatives, because it really brings climate funding, and there are billions of dollars in climate funding all over the world that we can capitalize on as Namibia and of course Africa. I have learned that Sub-Saharan Africa, we benefit the least from climate funding, and that is something that we have to look into, and that's what the Covenant of Mayors should be advocating for.
Mm.
In Africa, we always said that we contribute the least to global warming, we suffer the most, yet we benefit the least when it comes to climate funding, and the narrative should be changed.
Yeah. And in your view, how important is it for smaller or mid-sized African countries or cities to have a seat at the global climate and energy conversation?
I think it's very important. If we look at Africa, Africa has become the mine to sustain the world. And look, for example, where lithium is mined in Africa, Namibia, we mine lithium, and this resource is taken out. Let's make a practical example. Electrical vehicles are drove all over the world, but you don't see any of them here. So we will find our resources benefiting other nations for their fight, their mitigating action against climate change. But we ourselves, what are we benefiting as a country, as a nation? So we need to get our seat at the table so we can advocate, and that's why I'm particularly proud of being a part of COMSA, because that is how I can advocate for my brothers and my sisters on the African continent, and how we can make sure that equitable allocation of resources are done. And I think that all mayors should really be a part of this, and we will see how we can get. If I'm gone from here, if I vacate the seat at COMSA, I would like one of my brothers and sisters from Namibia to take that seat and go on with the work that we are doing. We need to bring mayors, we need to bring local authorities much closer to each other, because we can't be working in isolation. We need to work together for the common good of our people.
Mm. And where do you see Walvis Bay in 5 years if its sustainability goals stay on track?
Well, I think Walvis Bay has a lot of potential. There's a lot happening in Walvis Bay, but we need to have proper stakeholder engagement, and we need to plan on where we want Walvis Bay to go. Currently, we are working too much in isolation. If you look at, for example, the investment is going one side, municipalities taking things the other side, and obviously the port developments are also going on its own. So we need to come together as stakeholders. And I always said that if we take NIPDB, the port, and of course the municipality, and we work on a 20-year strategic plan, then we can really achieve our goals. This thing about 5-year plans is good, but 5-year plans need to lead into a bigger sustainable plan, which is the 20-year plan. Someone just said today that resources follow strategy. So we need to put up proper strategic plans on our goals, and we need to work together, because the problem we have is central government is not communicating with local authorities. There's no proper communication. If you look at how green hydrogen came about, we didn't know what it was. We had to do our own research. We need to find out. We needed to find out what is this. While they had a whole green hydrogen commission going on in Namibia, but not speaking to the grassroots or to the local authority. And I will always repeat this. Local authorities are the closest form of government to the people, and we are second to none.
Mm. And just finally, what does success look like for you over the next year as part of the Regional Mayors Forum?
Well, I would like to see more grant funding coming into Walvis Bay. I would like to see more sustainability projects coming up from that grant funding. Obviously, accountability is always essential when you look at grant funding or any type of funding. And that is something my office is particularly proud of, that we have maintained that sense of accountability when it comes to projects. And just to have our people understand what climate change is all about, educate the masses, because Walvis Bay is a coastal town. Walvis Bay is having sea level rise of over 1.5 meters annually. We are receiving abnormal amounts of rainfall, yet our town was never built to sustain rainfall. Through one of these climate initiatives, we have done a study which is called the Shorewater study that indicated that we should start building stormwater drainages in Walvis Bay, and that is what we are currently doing in all the new extensions that we are building in Walvis Bay. But we really need to capitalize on what the world has to offer in terms of climate funding, and of course also the networking and collaboration and the element of education for climate change. Climate change is real in this year, and there's something we need to deal with. So we need to put up mitigating factors on how we are going to deal with climate change. And I think that it's not completely understood. In a country where we have so many other social ills, look at poverty, you look at the education system, people don't really think that climate change is something that they need to worry about. But in fact, climate change contributes to so many of our problems. Look at floods, look at droughts. So how are we going to go about being sustainable amidst the challenges we have of climate change? So that is basically what I would like to have us benefit from that, the educational aspect, the networking, and the collaboration.